Alright guys, so in this video, we're going to do shape number 3, which looks like a triangle, hexagon, rectangle, hybrid situation. This shape, you may have to pause this video sometimes to kind of catch up, or maybe you even want to try to do it on your own. We're going to be learning how to use the polygon tool and the transform tool in this shape and in this video. So if you get lost, pause the video, rewind it, yada yada. Um, or maybe you feel like at this point you've got this. One thing that is a little tricky is the transform tool, so you do want to make sure you get that skill and that takeaway from this video specifically. So what we're going to do is, if you look at this drawing here, you definitely want to have this up as you're working on this. We're going to do a triangle. You notice here it's trimmed away, so we'll be using the trim tool. We're going to start with a triangle with a length of 1.5, and then we're also going to draw a hexagon that has a side length of, it doesn't say in here, so stay tuned in the video. I will define it. Okay. Um, and then we're going to move those so that the corner of this hexagon here lines up with the center of the triangle and trim that away. Once we do that, we're going to draw this skinny little rectangle, snap it to the center point of the side of the hexagon. And then lastly, we're going to basically do a 0.75 by 0.75 square snapped to the edge of the hexagon. So actually that indicates to us that um, each side length of the hexagon is 0.75 because that's a square and it's the exact length on the side. So let's get going. We're going to go to our complex sketching practice on shape, and we're going to start with this triangle, 1.5 sides. So you can see I have my asymmetrical ice cream cone and my symmetrical ice cream cone. I'm going to turn the sketches off so we can just focus on this one. We're going to create a sketch, and we're going to do it on the front face. Okay. We're going to start with the triangles. So using the polygon tool, we're going to do an inscribed polygon. Doesn't really matter because we're going to, like for this, which we're going to use, because we're going to define it by the edge length. So we're going to click that, and you can click on the origin if you'd like, and we're going to start to bring this out. Go ahead and click, okay, and then you drag your mouse in so that it goes to 3 sides. As you can see, those little arrows on the top, and then click again. Now we've got our triangle. In our assignment, the triangle has like that top is horizontal. If you drew yours and it's not like that, maybe it looks like this, just click on that horizontal tool and select one of the edges so that it snaps like that. Okay. Um, Again, those geometrical constraints are great, especially when you don't draw things correctly the first time. Okay. So here, the last thing we need to do for this triangle for now is dimension one side to be 1.5. Okay. And then we've got that to be the size we want, right? So the next item of action is going to be this hexagon. So 6-sided polygon with an edge of 0.75. So what I want you to do is go ahead and grab your inscribed polygon and just like click out here in no man's land, if you will, okay? Don't try to line it up, all right, because I'm going to show you a tool to help you later to do that. All I want you to do is draw your hexagon. We want it to be horizontal, so it kind of helps if you draw like that initially, but again, you can use a horizontal constraint. And then we're going to click, and then it's already set to 6, so go ahead and click again. Right. If you accidentally moved up and this went to 8, you can always double click in there and redefine it to be 6, which is wonderful. Okay, we need the edge to be 0.75. So we're going to grab this and we're going to define one of these edges, we'll just do this one to be 0.75 and the entire thing will adjust. Okay, so we've got 6-sided polygon with edges of 0.75. Beautiful. Okay, now the question is, how do we get them to overlap where the corner of this hexagon lines up with the center of that triangle? This is going to be the most important skill to take from this video. All right, we're going to be using something called the transform tool, which basically allows us to just move stuff. Okay, if we highlight and select this whole polygon, we can't just move it. Like if we click and drag it, we can't just move it. And on Shape, you have to use something called a transform. So select your polygon. I just clicked and highlighted the whole thing. And then up here in the toolbar, type TR and search for transform. And you want to click on this tool here. When you select that, this little origin arrow thing is going to pop up. And this is going to be what helps us move this shape up and down. All right. But another important takeaway here is that it's going to be important from what point you move the shape, right? We want this corner to line up with the center point of that. So before I start clicking the arrows to move, clicking and dragging the arrows, I need to click and drag this circle to the corner of that hexagon. Okay? Because now, as I click and drag this horizontal arrow over, it's going to be able to snap that exact point to the center of the triangle, which is exactly what we want. If I had kept that down here and dragged it over, it wouldn't be able to put exactly the point I wanted, exactly where I wanted it. So, again, moving this like transform tool, like the origin of it, to the location of which you want to drag from is very important. Start clicking and dragging. You can also use this tool to rotate. Okay, we don't need to rotate anything in here. But that's how you move stuff, which is going to be helpful. We're going to use for the next step. Once you have it where you want it, it's telling you just click somewhere out here, so you're good. And then it goes. Okay. If that was confusing, rewind and rewatch that process because we're going to continue to apply the process to these next two objects. So now we need to draw a 1 inch by 0.25 rectangle, and we're going to rotate it and snap it to the midpoint of that upper side. So before we talk about rotating and moving, just draw the 1 by 0.25 rectangle out in space. Okay, so I'm going to click on the rectangle tool and I'm just going to draw that. I'm not going to draw it perfectly the first time because it's kind of hard to do that in this program, but I'm going to draw it and then I'm going to use my dimensioning tool to constrain it to be the dimensions that I want. Okay. So we're going to do the transform again. All right. We're going to select our object, search for transform, and then select it. So with this object, we actually want to bring that like grabbing point to the center point of the side because we're going to line it up with the center point of this edge. Okay. And then, but I'm going to move it to the corner first. Okay. And then one thing I'm going to do actually before, because I need to rotate it to be able to like up there. Because right now, if I do that, it's just going to go up. So before I do that, I'm going to rotate it to be flush, which is going to be 30 degrees because we drew a hexagon. And now I can transfer it up and then see how it snaps. The nice thing again about Onshape is like it snaps to center points, endpoints, and it kind of tries to guess what you're doing. So that's where I want it. I'm going to click out here and it's going to move it and place it. All right. Based on that, you might be able to do this square. Okay. Pause the video, challenge yourself, see if you can do it. I'm going to go ahead and just run through it real quick. So if you want to follow along, feel free to. We're going to do another rectangle. This is going to be a 0.75 by 0.75. Okay, 0.75, 0.75. All right, and now we just need to transform it. So we're going to highlight, search for transform. Okay. Because we don't have to do this midpoint necessarily, I'm just going to leave it right there. And I'm going to hover over, see how it's kind of snapping to the existing geometry. Wonderful. And then we're going to do another 30-degree rotation. That's where I want it. And you can go ahead and click and place it. Okay. If you want yours to look exactly like mine, which I would love for you to challenge yourself to do and practice. Over here, I have clicked the trim tool and I just clicked and started trimming stuff up. The trim tool is fun, kind of fun. You just click and drag and it starts to eliminate line work that intersects other line work. So I encourage you to play around with that, and it's really helpful when you get to doing some more complex stuff. So anyways, there's your shape. Go ahead and screenshot this and put it in your assignment.